You should be headed towards an island off the northern coast. The terrain's pretty rough, so be careful.
The island has another island?
Yes, it has...
How irritating.
What?
Everything okay? I sure did. Not as well as Byron, but she was still around when I was born. I remember she came and talked to me after New Alexandria, told me how sorry she was. I never blamed her for that. It wasn't her responsibility. For some reason, we'd convinced ourselves that New Jerusalem wasn't enough, that we needed another city. We thought it would be easier the second time around. All it takes is a little bit of arrogance and a little bit of ignorance, and people die. A lot busier than it is now. My most defining memory is that it was extremely noisy, because something was always being built. Got annoying after a while.
Any further insights on the particle clouds, Melville?
To be honest with you, Byron, I feel like a caveman trying to study Bose-Einstein condensate. I'm seeing unknown particles whose every property violates the laws of physics, apparently capable of being controlled and recombined into just about anything. It's ridiculous.
Maybe someone in New Jerusalem can figure it out.
Sure, just give them another 1,000 years. I've been watching you solve these puzzles, and this body replication tech is incredible. It just casually blows up the very foundations of our society. You can say that again. Making even just one of us is bloody hard. We're not like toasters. You don't just weld together a couple of wires and a motherboard and call it a day. Not to mention how hard it is to even find some of the materials. And this thing just, poof, new human. It was. Or was it? And even if it was, sorry to be heretical, but does it matter? If we can figure out how this works, we can finally, easily create more people. We can grow. We can expand. We can build a real civilization. Isn't that worth pursuing? Well, I do. People get on my nerves, but without them, the world is boring. Yes, people cause problems, but even the problems they cause are interesting. Don't tell anyone I admitted this, but why do you think I do this job? Without people to populate the universe, what's the point? Yes? Of course I did. She and Cornelius were both there when I was born. Neath was just starting to take over back then, and they were still showing her the ropes. Busy. There was always another problem to solve. Did you know that she never upgraded her body? Always prioritised everyone else. That's the kind of work ethic I wish more people had. I disagree. At least when it comes to myself. For me, living is doing. Okay. I've never felt the need for a partner as such. I've met a lot of people who do. Athena and Cornelius, Atal and Damien, Sarabai and Hypatia. But that's not really for me. So far, at least. But I do have social needs like anyone. What I like is a pleasant buzz of humanity. Not too close, not too far. Something I can be part of without having it get in my face all the time. The data stream overloads. Yes, they could. There are safeguards to prevent that from happening, but these aren't exactly carefully controlled circumstances. It's hard to predict. Our brains are absurdly complicated, which is why it's so hard to make more of us. Maybe she just got sick of things breaking all the time. As far as I can tell, anything, which is insane. I used to think it was the only safe way forward. Keep things simple and under control. Now I'm not so sure that ever made sense. She's so innocent and full of wonder, it should make me want to retch, metaphorically speaking. But I'll admit, she's sort of charming.
Well done, 1K.
Hey, 1K. Then at least we may be able to find out what happened in New Jerusalem, why she came here. But I don't think she left the island. I think she's still here, waiting for us to make the right choices. It would be nice if something good happened for once, wouldn't it? I think every single human being is completely unique, and every instance of consciousness is a miracle. The more of us there are, the more alive the universe is. And the more we all interact with each other, the more complex the life of the universe becomes. So I believe that people are a fundamental good. I don't believe we're all flawless, but I think every one of us matters precisely because nothing else does. Okay? How many robots does it take to change a light bulb? Replacing a light bulb is a waste of resources, and the founder would be outraged. You know, Herman had the same reaction. Could be, yes, of course. All technology has the potential to be misused, from fire and the wheel to whatever makes these particle clouds. But that doesn't mean it has to be. In the principle of it, no. It's not just that I believe humanity is fundamentally good, although I do. It's that I think sentience is the foundation of everything else. What's the point of stars and galaxies, of hills and forests, without someone to perceive them? But My faith that we can actually grow up, that we can break out of these loops and take control of our destiny, that's something I struggle with every single day. Herman, honestly, I think he makes people feel safe. The world beyond our walls is frightening. Human history is full of failures and disasters. It's easy to look at that and recoil. Herman offers a vision of the future that feels contained, manageable. Precisely. Our curiosity, our creativity, our ability to grow, everything that made us who we are. To me, that's not worth it. Because they refused to grow up. They refused to take control of their lives. They let bureaucrats and financiers determine their destiny, and those people could not think beyond themselves, beyond the tiny, insignificant moment they were trapped in. Their technology could have saved them, but what really failed them was their imagination. Athena was always trying to understand the reality underneath what we perceive, the objective truth. That's why she was capable of leaving the simulation. And even after she was free, she never stopped trying to understand more. I suspect her research took her another step closer to understanding the truth. And such steps always challenge our conception of the universe. But that's the wonderful thing about science. We can adapt our views to the evidence. In the sense of an interventionist deity? No. I wouldn't rule out the possibility, but it's not something I personally believe. But I do think there is something genuinely sublime in this universe, and it's right in front of us. Consciousness. The fact that this sense of self is even possible, that an arrangement of matter can produce a self-aware mind? Think about it. It's a fundamental property of the universe, an unbreakable law that matter has the inherent capacity to become more than the sum of its parts. That is the definition of transcendence. She did, yes. Some people in New Jerusalem choose to live in family units, although usually that involves marriage or equivalent ceremonies, not having children. You could say that Athena was a kind of mother to us, and Cornelius a kind of father, but it's not quite the same.
If we believe that life is inherently valuable, if we think that other species are worth preserving, and we recognise that most of the universe is barren, then it follows that we have a duty not only to defend life, but to spread it. If life is the most valuable thing in the universe, then perhaps, in a sense, the cosmos itself is depending on us to do this. Like birds carrying seeds to uninhabited islands. Maybe that's our role in the galactic ecology.
I can't imagine spending years in such a desolate place. For what? Science? Enlightenment? I'd much rather be back home in New Jerusalem.
I think it's beautiful in its own way. But I don't understand how our ancestors could survive here. They were so fragile. Imagine getting stuck out here in the cold. I wonder if there are wolves.
It's kind of a miracle biological humans lasted as long as they did.
Hello, 1K. It seems like something that could very quickly get out of control. You know that saying about good intentions? If we can solve problems by just making more people, how long before people just become a problem-solving tool? Our ancestors thought they could introduce new species to existing ecosystems, and it never turned out well. There's no life there now, but you can't see the future. You might be wiping out a whole ecosystem that hasn't even gotten started yet.
Congratulations! That one looked difficult.
saying about how, in the end, the sea will claim everything. I have no doubt that this is true. In the long history of the human species, entire regions have disappeared under the waves. Places like Beringia and Doggerland still echo in our cultural memories. But we shouldn't forget that life began in the sea. We are the children of the sea. And it's not through floods and ruin that the sea will claim everything, but through us.
Now, I have to talk science fiction for a bit because I love science fiction, but it drives me nuts. There's this cliche that shows up over and over, and every time someone uses it, everyone pretends it's really profound. It goes something like this. A scientist invents something good, but, oh no, it's actually really bad. You could have something that makes your life better, but no, you can't. How dare you even want it? That's hubris. That's playing God. And it's never anything that reflects the real world, right? It's never, oh no, you invented a vaccine for cervical cancer. Oh no, you invented a new class of antibiotics. Oh no, you cured malaria. How dare you? Those diseased mosquitoes are way more important than human lives. How did science fiction become so reactionary? You know, if we all thought this way, you guys wouldn't even exist. At least Alex agrees with me. She has good taste.
This looks like it has something to do with energy generation. Am I reading this right?
I wonder what it was like when the ancients were still here. Their world seems so lively.
Not always in a good way. Interesting times are great to read about, but rarely great to experience.
That's true. But they left behind so much art and philosophy and religion, and so many strange stories. Is New Jerusalem like that?
It was, in the beginning.
Miranda is the founder's daughter. It's still kind of blowing my mind. She came all the way out here, left everything she had behind, and created a new life. Why do you think she did that? Neither do I. Maybe she was just lonely. I'm not sure, to be honest. This is all so surreal. Walking around here is so peaceful, but it's also, I don't know. One moment I feel inspired, the next, kind of creeped out. Our ancestors relied heavily on fossil fuels for energy generation, which released a lot of carbon dioxide. This caused the atmosphere to trap more heat, which changed the planet's overall climate. The effect continued even after they were gone, and these low-lying areas were flooded. I've seen a lot of places like that. No, I never did. I would have loved to. Nope. You know, people throw around the word awesome a lot. I probably do it too, but I think what we saw in there is the proper meaning of the word.
We cannot return to the past, but the future can redeem all that has happened.
As we continue exploring the cold northern reaches of the island, the contrast between the harshness of this place and the softness of New Jerusalem becomes more and more pronounced. There is a kind of madness in what we are doing, going to a place that is so hostile to our existence. That does not mean there is nothing to love here. There is, in fact, a great beauty, but it is a hateful beauty. A beauty you can only love because there are places that are not like this. And yet, it is precisely this hateful beauty that the people of New Jerusalem fail to see, and so cannot understand their own blessings.
If the fool persisted in his foolishness, would he become wise? For tricking the gods to help humankind,
Prometheus was punished by being bound to a rock, there to be eternally tormented. The chains that held him were forged by Hephaestus, blacksmith to the gods. Was Hephaestus right to allow his art to be used in this fashion? And is Hephaestus therefore absolved of the responsibilities of the Creator? It is not only those with power who have choices. As you continue your journey to the flame, remember Hephaestus and the burdens of the blacksmith.
The pattern is holding. Solve the puzzles, enter the tower, speak to an entity, turn on the beam. It's like she's appealing to our past, reminding us of where we came from, but changing enough elements to make us view our history through a different lens. Or maybe I'm completely missing the point. I don't know.
You might have something there.
I read about this in a book. It's called Defamiliarization.
You could? I think I'm actually impressed.